This is Kerry from the BKBK podcast, talking about the Jets' keys to success for our possible win against Chicago. Number one, the D has to play outside of themselves, like an out-of-body experience. We have to hold them to at least to no more than, I would say 14 points for us to have a chance to win, because we're not going to score more than 2 touchdowns. So that's number one. Number two, the offensive line has to play penalty-free and efficient so we can run the ball. We had poor offensive line play in the last couple of weeks, specifically as it relates to the center position. Yeah, I'm calling him out again. And I say that the third key to success is the play calling. We have to have very good play calling. We have to play efficient football, as I mentioned earlier. Ball control, short passing. We got to move the chains. Those are our keys to success.
Excuse me. Welcome, everybody, to the BKBK podcast, where sports and the culture collide and the New York Jets reign supreme. You all heard what Kerry had to say as far as the keys to success are for today's game against the Bears. Excuse me. Did we achieve that success? That is the question. So hold on a second now.
Okay.
We're here in our Westchester studios once again. And Captain Kyle McKenna joins us remotely from his beautiful state of Washington.
Cappy.
Cappy, El Capitan. Excuse me. But there's a new element to our show. We have our first studio guest today.
That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen and fellow Jets and Baldwin Bruins fans and Chicago Bears fans.
Yes, sir.
Hey, everybody. We'd like to introduce Anthony Ferriola. Woo!
Hello.
Clap it up.
Anthony, clap it up for Anthony.
Hello.
There we
Thank
go.
you very
Welcome,
much. Very
Chi-Town.
honored
Welcome.
to be the first non-Jets fan on this podcast. You're all welcome, by the way.
This dude is blessed us with his presence. That's what
Yes.
he's inferring, everybody. That's
Wait.
basically what
Has
he's saying.
anybody ever called you an element before?
No.
'Cause, yeah. All right.
That's just a fact.
Just wanted to be clear. All right.
What he's saying is the pleasure is all ours.
Yes.
Yes.
I got it.
Yeah. Basically.
Yeah, exactly.
After the win, then I guess you have to, right? Say that.
It is apparent that bald is beautiful on this podcast, though. It seems
Yes,
like today.
absolutely.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Let me cut to all the beautiful ball guys. Here's a sweaty ball guy right there. Right? That's a sweaty ball guy. Here's a winning bald guy. The
That's
Chicago
right.
Bears winning today.
Yes.
And here's a halfway decent looking, but not so much ball guy.
Wait a minute.
Front lit.
And then here is what Seattle ball guys look like. You know what I mean?
Yes. In Killer's basements.
Killer's basements. Look at that wood paneling. Looks like a 70s murder scene.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. We keep it right up here.
You know
Damn.
that.
That's right.
Yeah, true. So, guys, listen, I never thought in a million years that our first in-studio guest would be a Chicago's Bear fan, but, hey, we'll take it. It's all good.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what happened here today in this game. So, did the Jets adhere to the advice and the keys to success by our lovely co-host, Kerry Taylor? Brian looks like he's got something to say. That's his younger brother. Go ahead, B.
That's a no. I mean, if he could actually go backwards and say things that were going to cause us to lose, then that would exactly be the list of things that caused us to lose. I was sitting there, we were watching, Anthony and I were watching the game in our local watering hole, and I was like, this is what happens all the time. We're sitting next to another couple, penalty after penalty after penalty after penalty. At one point, it was like 10-1 as far as penalties, and there were 3 that were called on us that they actually didn't accept because of one reason or another, or it was offsetting penalties. So it was just absurd from a penalty perspective. The defense, like I had a conversation with Anthony about, played lights out for about 2.5 quarters. After the offense not moving the ball, not really giving the defense an opportunity for a blow in between, it just started to unravel late. And again, it wasn't as bad as the Minnesota game when we had some long touchdowns and what have you, but it's still ended up with us giving up touchdowns that we didn't give up early on in the game.
Yeah.
They had the stats up as far as Howard and him running the ball, and he had like, I don't know, 40 yards or something like that in 3 quarters. In the last quarter, he had 50-something yards.
Yeah.
So all of those things, amongst other things, not being able to move the ball. We had wide receivers that were out. We had DBs out. Not making excuses. It is what it is. But, yeah, it just none of the keys we actually did today.
I'm kind of eager to see what this Bears fan has to say about
Sure.
his about his victory today and just getting that Bears perspective.
Yeah, so I noticed 2 things in the game today. The first was that, I asked Brian, I didn't realize how much damage y'all do to yourself. And Brian made me believe.
Gee whiz.
Right.
I mean,
Explain that. I want to hear that.
It was 11 unforced errors, neutral zone infractions, offsides, just burying you guys selves to have to be 1st and 15,
Right.
giving us yards for free, and
Right.
I it just seemed like you guys kept a couple of our drives alive. Not too many mistakes that I saw, as far as Darnold, but I just was surprised with the lack of discipline. And Brian and I were talking, that's his opinion might be coaching. Those are mistakes.
And that was your opinion as
Yeah,
well.
it was,
right?
I'm not gonna lie, it was my opinion.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
I didn't want to throw him under the bus in my first podcast with you guys, but and from a guy here that we have a gentleman here that does high school coaching. Those are mistakes you don't even tolerate at the high school level. I
That's
know
true.
all you guys played,
Right,
and I was surprised that. And Brian may feel like that's a regular occurrence.
I
Go
think
ahead.
for me, one of the most frustrating things are pre-snap penalties
Yes.
because that just goes to what you were saying. It's all about discipline, and that discipline comes from the tone that the coach sets.
Right.
And it's all coaching.
Right.
So pre-snap penalties, I mean, these are things that
Killers.
if you trim the fat on that, you automatically, just an arbitrary number, you can make your team about 15% better without even having to think about anything else because the line is so close in the NFL as far as skill level is concerned. If you just get rid of these pre-snap penalties or limit them, then you're already ahead of the game as far as just being able to execute your game plan, and that it's so incredibly frustrating. And I think we might have had 7 in the first half or something like that.
It was
Don't
a
quote
lot,
me,
yeah.
but it was a lot.
Yeah,
it was a lot.
It was.
And we're not that good of a team to be able to just say, "Oh, we can never mind that. We're
Slim margin
we're
for
better
error.
than that." Yeah,
Slim
wait,
margin for
wait
error.
until the 3rd quarter. We're gonna get them. No, we're slim margin for error. We're not that good. Okay. And I think you guys are a better team than us all the way around. Do I think you guys are a great team? No, but you know what? You guys are on the ascension.
Right.
And we would need to play mistake-free football to even have a chance. And we didn't get dominated. But we got beat. And I didn't see us having any chance of coming back and winning this game.
It was 7-0. You never felt like we were gonna
No, I said
win the
I
game.
said to him, I said one play just broke you guys back. I mean, it was one
Right.
screen pass and a 7-yard touchdown, and after that, it
Yeah.
never felt like you guys close.
I don't
again.
know.
At no point that I felt the game was in jeopardy, and it was unfortunate because we didn't have Khalil Mack on the field today.
Nope.
Not insignificant.
Right.
We didn't have our top wide receiver. No, you guys had missing players too, but our 2
Tons.
arguably most impactful players were on the field, and it never felt one play broke your back, and that was the end of the game.
That was it.
Yeah.
Was it expected that Khalil Mack was going to sit today?
No, that was a
was
pregame.
up in the air.
It was up in the air, and then I when I met Brian this morning, I'm like, oh man, this cat's not going to play today. And I actually thought it was going to be a bad scene for us. We were in jeopardy when I heard he wasn't going to play.
Right.
What about Robbie Anderson?
Didn't play.
Because I saw Robbie Anderson in street clothes.
No, he
Didn't play.
He
Did not play.
Did not play.
For the
But
Jets,
was that
he,
did he not practice all week? Or was that
Yeah, he was in jeopardy all week.
Yeah,
He was in jeopardy all week. Yeah. And then he went from questionable to doubtful.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 days ago, whatever else, going into the weekend.
he didn't have out on fantasy, and I was, as you guys know, I was camping. I was camping up until about an hour and a half ago. So
Uh-oh.
I caught. I'm going to be full disclosure. I caught the highlights and I caught the end of the 4th quarter of this game. But I did see that Robbie Anderson was on the sideline. But going back to what Anthony was saying, he makes a great point about what we commonly refer to as being off schedule. And when you have all those procedural penalties and you get off schedule, you're now in these situations where you have to deal with analytically the worst down and distance situations that you could possibly be in.
Right.
The 2nd and longs, the 3rd and longs. These are traditionally downs that you only convert really in the, on the high end 50%, on the low end, 25%. And it's not like we have Tom Brady operating the offense. We have Sam Darnold doing it. So
Right.
so like you said, the margin for error is smaller. So yeah, I think you can't really take away the fact that might be some coaching, and also playing away. But you can't really make the playing away excuse because it happens at home too. So we'll see. I guess we'll see what goes on from here. If they could clean that stuff up, we know
haven't been
that's
able to for years, Kyle. I mean, this is, you know what I mean? Clean it up for next week. What? They've been doing push-ups and, during practice or whatever for this.
Making them run until they throw up.
Right, man. Like, what else are we supposed to do here? It's just not, since it's an undisciplined football team right now. It's just, and it's tough to watch, man. It's tough to watch you shoot yourself in the foot with those pre-snap penalties over and over and over again. With the false starts is the worst.
Yeah.
It's like,
I can't stand it.
One of the things I noticed too today, and I asked you, B, when we were at the bar today, I said, who's making play for you guys? I said, it seems like Crowell is the only guy that I feel like makes any plays for you guys or makes anything happen offensively. Is there somebody else that should have been on the field today that's normally making plays for you guys?
They're hurt. All those guys that are on the field that make plays for us are hurt. Quincy Enunwa hurt. Yeah. Robbie Anderson hurt. Bilal Powell, who does make plays for us, hurt.
Terrell Pryor,
who scored a touchdown in each of his last 3 games before we cut him. He hurt his groin.
Yeah.
So all those guys are hurt. Even our center was hurt. I think he's a good blocker, but he can be a little bit of a knucklehead sometimes because he's always messing up the long snap, and he does tend to get penalties too as well. So basically, the one guy that constantly makes plays for us or has been on a trend has been our rookie tight end, Herndon. He scored his 3rd touchdown today.
Yeah.
So he's been streaming upwards, and, everything else is just in flux. And then we're leaning so much on the defense, but we have a lot of defensive players that are hurt. Tremaine Johnson is hurt.
Yep.
We have a guy, our safety's back in action, but he's wearing a cast. I'm looking at him make plays all with his right side instead of his left because he's got a broken thumb.
Right.
I was just watching the little nuances there, and it's like, he's leaning in one direction when he's making plays. He even punched the ball out when he was on the ground with his good hand because he's consciously aware of his bad hand.
But even when the cupboard's full, it's not like we scare anybody.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's just be brutally honest about it. We just don't have those playmakers like Odell Beckham Jr. or this or that, either as in any of the skill positions right now.
And whose fault is that? That's your boy McCagnon, right? Because
absolutely,
if you look at it, when you don't have your starters, there's a huge drop-off between our starters versus our backups. We couldn't get any separation as far as the wideouts are concerned. Sam Darnold had really
nowhere to throw the ball.
Nowhere to throw the ball. Yeah. Nowhere to throw the ball. And then he would bootleg out and try to scramble just to make something happen. And that wasn't working either. Like Javon Curse, I like him. He's a good possession receiver, but he doesn't create any separation.
No.
And if he does, he needs the first team to be in there to pull the other DBs away so that he can get separated. Our first receiver, our second receiver, and our third receiver, and that would be Quincy Enunwa, Robbie Anderson, and think about it, Pryor, who was on the come up. They were all gone. So all we were running with plan Bs and Cs out there. I felt like I was watching a preseason game, with the third preseason game of the year with just all the plan B guys and plan C guys out there trying to make the team, and it just wasn't happening. So there was no way that we were going to win.
And also, in fairness, too, I know you don't feel like we're a great team, but I think we're a lot closer than people give us credit for. And we were already a good defense before Khalil Mack got there.
I think you're a good team. I don't think you're a great team, but I think you're definitely a good team.
I think we are, and I think we have a lot stronger foundation. Some of it's just time, right? And we got multiple first-round draft picks on that defense. Yeah. We have an offense with a lot of pieces. I said to Brian, we're 3 plays away from being undefeated, right? We fall forward against the Pats, we beat them, right? We missed a field goal against Miami, we should have beat them, right? And we blew a 20-point lead in the fourth quarter on our first nationally televised game against Green Bay. Those are our 3 losses.
Yeah.
I mean, those are 3 very winnable games that we almost won. We'd be that close. It'd be us and the Rams at that point. And I don't know that we're that far away as people think we are. So in fairness to you guys, tough game for you on the road against a team that's on the come, I think.
And Anthony, I think that you guys got to play Minnesota too and see how that goes, because I think that's going to be the team that's probably going to be in your way more so than Green Bay at this point. When it all comes down to it, if Kirk Cousins really gets rolling and Minnesota gets some momentum, I think they're a pretty good team too. I think they're right there with you.
I agree with you. Let me ask you guys a question. This may be unfair. Do you think Max sits if it's Minnesota today?
No.
All right, at least you guys are honest. I was like, I have a feeling we sat him down because it was you guys. But I think that's fair. And to your point, I hope for you guys, I'd like to give Cousins a beating for you guys. 'Cause I feel like he's owed that.
Oh yeah. Please trauma beating. Yeah.
That's all business. It's all business.
First come from the Meadowlands.
Don't
Thanks.
give us this fake nice guy because you beat us kind of thing. You're a Chicago Bears fan. Own it. You love it. You know what I'm saying? I know that you're a guest in our studio today.
No, you felt bad for me. He actually put his arm around me at one point. It'll be okay.
We're coming from that. I was like, oh man, we haven't been in my second beer.
Yo,
yet.
man, it's embarrassing, man. This is why I watch Jets games in the house by myself.
Totally.
Like the family even just leaves and whatever else because I'm all over the place, man.
I know.
I'm all over the place. So I was really keeping it inside and was like, whatever, man. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Frustrating.
I mean, my son doesn't even like the Jets. That's my flesh and blood. That's my son.
Uh-huh.
And all he heard me was say, "Gee whiz, Sanchez," in the basement on the big screen. And I would he was younger, so I'd startle him.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Dad, yeah, I don't like the Jets." And I'm just like, wow. So I even turned my son off of the Jets, so,
It's ugly.
My son likes the Raiders, so what am I doing?
Well, you know what? You're up there in the
At least you
in
can
the
pick better.
Northwest.
If you're gonna trade up,
felt better, right?
If you're gonna trade up for something that's better.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
I don't know.
Your son likes QBs that cry.
Evidently.
Oh goodness.
Down the right cheek.
Oh man. So, I mean,
Down the right cheek.
So, I just want to comment on what you were saying before, Anthony. You guys definitely have laid the foundation as far as how to build a good team. And if you think about it, let me run it down the list. Good teams usually have a great pass rusher. You have that.
Sure.
Check.
A great O-line, right? At least one or two great O-linemen.
Sure.
You have Kyle Long.
Yeah.
We
had Kyle Long. He left today in a very unexpected injury. I don't know if you guys saw it at the end of the game.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
But
way at the end.
Yes,
too,
way
yeah.
at the end. But as a franchise, you guys have a great perennial Pro Bowl lineman, Kyle Long.
Mm-hmm.
You have a foundational QB, which you have in Mitch Trubisky. He's still growing. He's still on the ascension, but you have him.
Mm-hmm.
And then now you have a 1,000-yard rusher 2 years in a row in Howard. You have a great, in as far as Cohen is concerned, a great third down gadget player who can just score at any point in time.
Yep.
He's an explosive player. And then you have quality wide receivers that your GM brought in with Robinson. You have a really good tight end as well, Trey Burton, who I wanted the Jets to get. You remember that, B?
Yep,
I love that
Yep.
kid.
I remember.
Yeah.
And then everyone else can be sprinkled in around them to complement them to make them a good team. And like I was saying, your foundation is there. Are you guys a great team? Not yet, but could you get there? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think you guys are a really good team, and I think if we followed your model, we could, do something, but we haven't. But we're trying to get there. We got our franchise QB. The Big Cat is a really good player, but he's not a Khalil Mack, so we need someone to help him out so he's not double teamed every time because he's not a Khalil Mack or what's that guy from Denver?
Von
Miller type of guy. He needs that to open himself up. And I just don't think we have enough good players. Like none of our receivers are really that good. I mean, I do like Anunua, but Anunua to me is not a number one. He's a great number two. He's a tweener, which makes great mismatches. He has hands like a receiver and he runs like a running back.
Yeah,
I think he's great there, but he needs a true number one wide receiver. And then our O-line is a mess.
Well, that was my question for all of y'all is that I noticed you guys don't talk too much about the offensive line. And when I was watching today, I saw a lot of penetration every time Crowell touched the ball. He's getting hit 2 yards deep, two yards deep, right? Yeah. Darnold's got people falling at his feet. Is the offensive line a concern? Or
yes.
Is it because it hasn't seemed like people talk too much about it?
I beg to differ. We talk about our O-line problems a lot.
Yeah.
So, I'll let Kyle jump in there. But we tend to talk about it quite a bit. At At least I know I do.
We
I'm a
thought-
former lineman, so
We talked about it a lot in the offseason. Like we all wanted certain positions addressed in the draft. We all wanted one of those centers that we didn't get,
Yep.
like the Ragnows and
Price.
the guy from Iowa whose name we never remember.
I think it's Daniels or something.
Yeah, Daniels.
Yeah. But it seems as though we kind of went in with that a little bit flawed, and they've been at times overachieving. I think, Anthony, in our eyes,
Sure.
at times, but we have bashed them too other times. So definitely a concern of ours, but we had so many holes to fill, and we still do. I mean, the thing with Darnold is that he doesn't have the weapons yet. Like Brandon was saying, there's still 3 guys that we have out that weren't, how many of them were actually number ones, like true number ones? None of them. So we had like a wide receiver by committee, which I've never even heard of before. I think I just coined that. But the whole thing with the O-line is kind of tied into the fact that we have good days and we have bad days, but we definitely need to address it. We thought that Spencer Long was going to be a big improvement over Wesley Johnson. And I mean, to be as objective as you can, I would say it's probably a small improvement.
Probably a push.
I would say it's a small improvement.
I would agree
Wesley
with you,
Johnson
Kyle. Small improvement.
Pro Football Focus, Brian, you sent it to us. It said Wesley Johnson was the worst rated center in the league last year. And you got to get better than the worst one. Right.
No,
so
which I agree there. I think I say push because if you can't, get the ball from your hand to the quarterback.
Yeah, that's a problem.
You know what I mean? And I don't know if Pro Football Focus has that contemplated in their numbers, right? Because they're assuming the center is going to be able to snap the ball.
Well, let me ask you this question though. We talked about today. He mentioned all his keys.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the things he didn't speak to on the team is I think our coaching staff is strong, and we did a tremendous job this offseason, arguably the best job in the NFL. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys feel, based on what I saw today, we had one unforced error right today when you were looking at the game? You guys had 12. I think you counted 11, 12.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel like you have the coaching staff that you need to have at this point?
I'm going to jump in there first. I think even before you get there, because they're there too.
Yeah.
You got your franchise quarterback last year,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now you had a defense around him.
Mm-hmm.
All these things that we talked about,
Before
the defense,
Mac got there,
the foundation, right?
Yeah.
The defense before Mac even got there.
Mhm.
But then they got Mac.
Mhm.
You had the weapons that gradually you guys have hit on,
Sure.
right? And now when you put your franchise quarterback in this position, it's plug and play.
Yeah.
Because he's got all these things around him. You bring Darnold in, and the cupboard's bare.
Yeah.
Yes.
And now we're starting to try to build. So now your window isn't really open.
It's almost the reverse of what we did.
It's the reverse of.
Yeah.
But we've been trying to do this for years.
Yeah.
It's just, again, I start with the GM first and the lack of proven weapons over time that he has been in that role. People that he's drafted, quarterbacks that he drafted prior to this too. Let's be clear about that as well. So when you're devoid of talent and you are in this position, this is how it looks when you put it out there. Now, I don't take Bowles off the hook.
Yeah.
Because of the unforced errors and stuff like that. So as a team, I feel like they, as a tandem, have failed us for both sides. The talent side and putting out a good product when you do have pieces to put out there on the street. So, it's really frustrating to watch from that perspective.
Yeah.
Because even if we had the Ferrari out there, if you're doing offside penalties and all that kind of stuff and false starts, it still doesn't look right.
Ryan, can I jump in there?
Sure.
I think that first of all, I think that Matt Nagy is doing a good job.
Excellent.
Offensively for sure. I would say that Chicago and Kansas City, along with the Rams, have kind of like the most creative offenses that we're seeing right now. And I don't know, is Nagy on that tree, that KC tree?
He coached. He was the offensive coordinator for KC last year.
Yep.
Right. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So you see that in there, and I think that they got a lot going with their coaching staff. I think general manager wise, I'm gonna pop an insult out there and then bring it back to a compliment. The Bears went out and got their franchise quarterback. His name was Mike Glennon.
very, very funny. Very funny.
And then
Notice
and
I'm
then
not
they,
laughing.
Right. Clearly.
so they pulled the brakes back on that and they righted it. And that's the thing. It's like in the NFL, if you're going to keep your job, you got to right the ship when it's going the wrong way. So I'll bring that back to saying that, with Maccagnan, if Maccagnan's going to keep his job at the end of the season, he's going to have to take a real close look at the guy that he brought in to coach in Todd Bowles, and say, does he have the right mix? Because you've already fired multiple offensive coordinators in the stint. You got Bates is our third under Bowles or second? Brian and Brandon.
You talking about Bowles? How many years?
No, at a Bowles' time as the coach, how many offensive coordinators have we had? We had the guy from New Orleans that got fired last year, and then Bates now. And who did we have before that?
You know what? It's a good question. I do not know that offhand. I do not.
So
know
I
that
mean,
offhand.
when offensive coordinators get fired and it's a defensive coach, you only really got like two chances with that before
You have nowhere else
it's
to
like,
go.
Hey, buddy, maybe it's you. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not the other guy.
Right.
So like I respect the way that Chicago recognized the fact that they didn't have their guy in Mike Glennon, structured his contract good enough so that it didn't kill them when they released him and went and drafted another guy, or they had them both on the team at the same time, but they were smart enough to say, let's get rid of this other guy and let's go with it. And I think that the Jets do that a little bit with Josh McCown, with safety net on it.
Sure.
But we're gonna see really whether they got the coaching staff that they really need to answer your question. And I think in the next probably 6 games. I think after the next 6 games, we're gonna know for sure.
I think one of the easiest things to talk about from this game is the two very young quarterbacks, right?
And you know what? That's a great transition into our next act. So I love it because what I was going to say is basically Darnold versus Trubisky, the development of the young QBs.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to start it off, this is exactly where I wanted to go, because I think what we've already established is the foundation and what allows for easier development, which I believe your QB has. But yeah, take it away, man.
It's almost like I read the show notes.
Yeah.
So what I'll tell you, and this is going to be funny because coming from the Bears fan who won the game today, Brian and I talked before the game, and we talk all the time, right? And I said to him, look, as much as he's doing well, he's putting up big numbers, I don't love him. And Brian hasn't really had a chance to really watch him close. And today you watched him and we saw some passes and you're like, dude, where is this cat throwing the ball? And NFL quarterbacks, I think one of the things you can't really teach is accuracy, right? I think they come with it or they don't. We had all the screens on today. We saw Baker Mayfield dropping dimes all over the field, right?
Yep.
He's an accurate QB.
He's an accurate QB.
Yeah.
And Trubinsky has put up some good numbers, and I know one of y'all is a big Patrick Mahomes fan, and I know he's got a big cannon arm, but Trubinsky doesn't make me
that
feel
guy right there is big Mahomes fan.
is over there. So,
Yep.
but and we actually passed up. We moved up past where Mahomes got drafted to get Trubinsky. So I think he's good. I think we could win with him. I think he's a playoff quarterback. Do I think we reached at number 2 to go up there and get him? I do. But if we're gonna win championships, I don't think it's going to be because of Mitch Trubinsky, but I think he's good enough for us to win championships with. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Absolutely.
And I noticed it too, if I pointed this out to you today, Bri, right? Until he starts moving around, he doesn't get comfortable. And I said to you, he had that big scramble, third and 15. He got the first down. I go, watch, we're going to score a touchdown. Sure enough, I'm like, now he's comfortable. He's going to make some plays. All of a sudden, he dropped a dime on Anthony Miller, touchdown, and it was game over at that point. Right. But it's something about him, the way he plays. I've seen this script every single week. Until he moves around, he's not comfortable. But that's what I've seen so far from him.
Do you think Darnold throws a better ball than Trubisky?
Absolutely. Listen, I think you guys, here's my thought on Darnold. I think the Giants are going to be sad they passed on him. I know that's crazy saying they drafted Saquon Barkley. I think Darnold's going to be a good quarterback. I think the difference between the two of them is, to Brian's point earlier, the Bears went and had all the pieces in place, and then they brought in Trubinsky at the end. they're starting with Darnold, right? He's got nothing around him. If you put Sam Darnold in Kansas City, does he look different than he does now? Does he look closer to what Patrick Mahomes is? You surround him by all those horses and all that talent, it looks way different. And I think you guys have a guy. I think he reminds me of Brett Favre. I'm a Bears fan. I think I'm a Bears fan, and I hate saying that, but he's going to force some balls. He's going to make some mistakes, but I like that. I like that he's got moxie, and I think he's the talent. I think you guys got the guy. I think you guys have the guy. I don't know if you guys think you got the guy, but I think you got the guy.
Anthony, I got a question for you about Trubisky though.
Yeah.
Given that he only started 1 year in college, wouldn't you say that he's not the quarterback he's gonna be in say 3 more years of starting? Do you think that he has a lot of upward potential to be much better than he is right now, even from an accuracy standpoint?
I do. I certainly think there's a ton of room for him to get better. I think there's a ton of room for him to improve his decision making. I don't know if accuracy is one of those things he's going to get better with over time. Now, I defer to some of your coaching experience and some of the things that you've seen, but accuracy seems to be like it's something that you come to the league with, not something you learn. You can improve your decision making. You can improve how you manage the game.
Right.
I think you'd even improve arm strength, right, and how you approach those deep balls. But I don't know if he's ever going to get much more accurate. But
you know what helps with accuracy when you don't necessarily have really good accuracy? Rapport with your receivers. So if your receivers can kind of stay healthy, because different receivers run routes a little bit differently. There's like little nuanced things that they do. And that's why they brought in that USC receiver for the Jets for Sam Darnold. I forget the kid's name. He was wearing number 18.
Burkett.
Yeah. And they brought him in because there's a rapport there. There's a relationship there. And he actually caught 2 balls today, and one of them was a nice ball that Darnold threw to him that he caught on the sideline.
Right.
So I think that helps with accuracy as well, just having that rapport. But overall, if you're like a Baker Mayfield and you come in with that built-in accuracy, I mean, oh my goodness, I mean, I still like that kid, and that's the one that Brian and I wanted the most. He was 1, and I think Darnold for us was 1A. And I still love the Darnold pick. I like what he brings to the table. But to say that Baker Mayfield is not going to be a success, and I'm not saying that we're saying that, but there are people out there, he reminds me of, what's his name?
Russell
Johnny
Wilson.
Football.
No,
Johnny
not
Football.
Russell Wilson, Johnny Football. It's like, no.
Yeah.
I never saw that. All he was a brash, confident kid.
6-foot kid.
Yeah, that's
you know what I
it,
mean? That
you
can
know?
run around a little bit.
And takes pictures with tigers in like magazines.
Funny.
You know what I mean? I don't know if you guys saw that, but yeah, he did that. So that's they were equating him with that kind of Johnny Football mentality. He doesn't have it. It's different.
Yeah.
We talked a lot about accuracy when we were talking about the draft and Josh Allen being, we went all the way back to his JUCO stats.
Yeah, we did.
And his high school stats.
Yep.
And to Anthony's point,
Never
he was
accurate.
never higher than a 55% completion percentage ever. We didn't get his Pop Warner stats, but I'm sure if we had them, they would look the same. But yeah, I agree with you totally, Anthony, that you're not going to teach accuracy. I think the biggest thing with levels when you're going from the college level to the pro level is, and from junior high to high school to college to pro, whatever. The speed of the game, when the speed of the game starts to slow down a little bit, you get more poised and you get in a position where you're able to do a little bit more things. But as far as like quick release and accuracy, you kind of either got it or you don't, because you're not going to change your release when you're that old. The way you release the ball is the way you release the ball.
Yeah, remember they tried to out-coach that with Phillip Rivers, and look at what he turned into. His release is a little awkward, but he's a great quarterback. He'll probably be going into the Hall of Fame, even though he doesn't have a ring yet. He's that productive.
One of the things we saw today, the lowest passing percentage accuracy this year, the bottom 4 guys were the 4 rookies from this year. Not that surprises anybody, but I mean, is there any, would you guys really trade and have a different one of the young quarterbacks today? I mean, I can't imagine as a Jet fan you aren't happy with Darnold as your quarterback.
Absolutely not. Absolutely.
I mean, listen.
Well, maybe Baker Mayfield, but he wasn't a choice for us. He got picked before we picked.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly.
Would you really want him over Darnold though? Would you really?
I mean, we talked about it for months, and
Yeah.
sure,
I did.
sure. I mean, listen, man. Pro Football Focus. A lot of the stats they had in there. He was the best far and away in the accuracy piece of it. The moxie, the leadership qualities that he had. Playing the best when the lights are the brightest. From that perspective, they didn't lose because he didn't play well. The defense was horrible. It was what it was. But
Darnold's younger though, isn't he? Isn't Darnold actually a couple years younger?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sam Darnold, in the past 60 years, no other QB has started younger than him. He was 20 years old and 2.5 months or something like that when he started against Detroit, which was his first game. The youngest in like 60 years. So I love that part of it.
And
room to grow, baby.
Yeah. And Mayfield walked on.
Yeah.
Two different schools.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true. That's true.
You know, that's a special type of kid there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he walks around with a chip.
Yeah.
I love it.
I love it.
I love it.
And what I was talking about back when you and I, and all of us were talking about Baker Mayfield, we loved his moxie, and the Jets don't have an identity.
Right.
And we were like, if there is a player who's good, first and foremost, but that can put a stamp as far as an identity on this New York Jets team, who is the redheaded stepbrother of, excuse the phrase, but the redheaded stepbrother of of football in this town, because
With the Giants.
yeah, below the Giants, like the Giants are the Yankees, and we're like the Mets as far as the Jets are concerned. It was going to be this kid.
Wow, that just hurt, didn't it? That
It
hurt.
hurts, but it's the truth.
Oh,
It's the truth.
Jagger.
I know.
The Mets.
Thank goodness I am a Yankee
Wow.
fan, or else I have no wins. Yankees,
Knicks.
right? That's it, because I'm a Knicks and I'm a Jets fan.
Yeah.
I haven't been alive to see any victories.
Yeah.
Goodness, after what
Any
Durant did
championships.
all day on the fourth quarter the other night, man, I wouldn't claim that either. At this point.
I got to meet Joe Namath, and that's as close as I got. So I have a picture with him like this,
that's
But that's it.
I will say to your point though, Baker Mayfield, LeBron left Cleveland,
Yeah.
right, and I'm sure you guys watched the game where this cat went in,
Sure.
right? Terrell probably
Watch the game. They were playing us.
You were playing you guys, right?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just had to be us,
I did.
right?
I did.
Had to be us.
I slipped that in there for you guys in case y'all didn't know.
Yeah.
But tell the truth, right? Didn't the crowd just go off when
Of
this
course.
cat came in the game? I mean,
Of course.
it was.
he's the new guy.
He is the new guy.
He's the new
Yeah.
guy, and he deserves it. And just to speak on the whole accuracy thing, here is another quarterback who's one of my favorite quarterbacks of all time, who basically made his mark through his accuracy. Didn't have a strong arm or anything, but he was super accurate
I know where you're
and was
going.
able to build off of that. My boy Chad Pennington. I love
I
Chad.
knew he was going there.
I love Chad
Does he love this
Pennington.
guy?
He loves
I
Chad.
love Chad Pennington. I love
Yeah.
Chad Pennington. I think he's great. I love Chad. I love Chad.
Before he
okay?
went bald, he got his haircut like Chad Pennington.
Yeah.
I got
Yeah,
the bowl cut
yeah,
like Chad.
The Caesar, yeah.
But like if you are accurate and you are truly accurate,
Yeah.
everything you can build off of. If you have poor footwork but you're accurate, who cares? If you don't have a strong arm like Brett Favre but you're accurate, who cares?
Right.
The only thing that held Chad back were his wrists. Remember when he broke his wrist?
Yeah.
And then he had like 3 shoulder
surgeries
surgeries. That
that-
killed me.
Done.
Somebody to give you guys a comparison too that I think is maybe a better comparison for accuracy is probably Drew Brees.
Yes,
Right?
I love Brees too.
Didn't have a huge arm, right?
Right.
But then you had a cat like Jamarcus Russell that had a cannon, right? He could throw the ball 80 yards from his knees, but he couldn't
Yeah.
have broadside of a barn if nobody was around him,
Right.
Right. But
Right.
Drew Brees, one of the greatest ever, right? He
Yeah.
didn't have a cannon, but he's never gonna miss.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
You're 100% right about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
True Brees.
So,
Oh, by the way,
yeah, go ahead.
have you guys caught any of the previews for the Peyton Manning show that they're gonna have on ESPN Plus? I think it's called In Detail. They kind of had something with Kobe Bryant that was similar, but I saw like the little snippet on Twitter of this new Peyton Manning show, and he is breaking down everything that's going on, like the whole touching the head thing. It's all like an alert thing where they call 2 plays in the huddle and then kill, and it's like he's demystifying. It's like one of those magician shows where they tell you how you do all the tricks.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Behind the
You know what
curtain.
I mean? But the guy has to wear the mask because if anybody found out he was doing it, they would, kill him or whatever. I don't know.
Is he the Copperfield? Is he the David Copperfield on the football field?
Yeah, well, he was just it was really cool, and I don't know if I'm going to plunk down the. I mean, I know the full disclosure. I know that Brandon, you're working for ESPN, but I don't know if I'm going to plunk down the extra $4.95 a month for ESPN Plus. I'm paying for enough stuff right now, but the show looked cool. So
don't worry, Brian and I are making sure our company keeps getting paid. Don't worry about it, man.
Right, the nationwide commercials. He's owning that, man. He's doing a good job over there. There we go.
Nationwide is on your side.
So
right.
Anthony, I know you had some questions from some
Yeah,
of the
you know,
folks.
I have some internet friends, and I've been sharing the fact that you all were going to have me on today, and unfortunately, I have some other Jet friends besides you boys. So that,
Okay.
I got some questions coming
that
in
unfortunately?
for you guys.
Jeez.
Listen, I feel bad for y'all, man.
And guys, and for the record, you know, we had like a little pre-production meeting beforehand, and I said, you know what, let's hold off on the questions. I kind of wanted to hear them fresh. So
Right.
our reactions
Fresh
here,
reactions,
guys.
yes,
yeah,
yes.
fresh. These are going to be true reactions here. True reactions.
Yeah,
So,
I did not share with the host.
No,
today,
no,
so
not
they
at
have
all.
idea
We
what's
don't know
coming at
what
them,
these are.
dun, 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 dun.
but I'm making sure they are appropriately framed for you guys.
All right.
So,
All right,
so,
let's
so this one's from Japan, from my buddy Justin.
Okay.
Not exactly what he asked, but I know what he wanted to know.
Okay.
Right. Before he moved out there, he wants to know: would you guys rather have Rex coaching the team today?
I'm not commenting on
What?
it. I work. No, you know
Yes.
what?
Oh,
I
yes.
work with Rex, so I'm not.
No, yeah.
Yes.
I would. But I would need a really, really strong offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Like that would have to be part of the deal. So it would have to be somebody that's like innovative, like a Nagy or something like that. That would have to be part of the deal because he doesn't focus on the offensive side of the ball at all. So my answer is yes. He has the moxie. He has, you know, I didn't want to see him go, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But it just, again, the undisciplined part happened there too. But you accepted it because defense was lights out.
Yeah.
Every game. And then the offense we needed a better offensive coordinator. So I'll let the rest of them comment.
I think that if Rex came back with the perspective of having been a head coach in two places where it didn't work out for him, and he's like, I know what I did wrong,
Right.
and I'm not going to do those things again, I think that I'd be cool with it. Would I rather right now? I'll tell you in 6 games.
What I will tell you to your point is that he did give you guys an identity.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to comment on. I was definitely going to say that's the part that I really liked. He gave us an identity, so much so he made us a target because you know he was talking about kicking people's heads in, and wasn't afraid to do it, and I loved it because this gave us the identity. Like we were tough. This is like when we had Bart Scott. This is like when we had, you know, like real tough guys on the team, and Rex was the mastermind behind that. So I loved Rex for that. Our defense definitely was lights out, like what we said. So I agree with him in that respect as well, and also having someone who is a, you know, give me like a Nagy or something like that, somebody like that, or a McVay, like a real cerebral offensive mind.
Right.
And then Rex gives us that same cerebral mind, but just on the defense, but also that tough guy mentality.
Yeah.
And we'd be good, you know. And then a GM, of course, that would give Rex what he needs, you know.
Right.
So that's another issue too, man. But go ahead.
All
Man.
right,
Good
all right.
question. Good question.
I got one from my guy Mike in Connecticut. I'm gonna change. He wanted to know. I'm gonna take you guys off the hook. He wanted to know if the Jets are gonna make the playoffs. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say we're gonna change this and say. Wait, hold on.
I'm all right.
How many wins do the Jets get this year? I'm gonna ask you guys that. How about that?
So recalibrate now.
Yeah.
Because we all had predictions. Mine was 8-8. I don't know if everybody remembers theirs.
Mine was 7-9. And what was yours, Kyle?
9-7.
Ooh, we're not
9-7.
making that, brother.
Yeah.
We're not making that.
Wow. So what are we? 3-5.
We're 3-5.
Sitting at 3-5 right now.
My 7-9 is still intact. Eric, I think, was 6-10, I believe.
So I think, you know, like Kyle says, we better beat Buffalo twice. So
Right.
so that's 2 wins. So that puts us as 5. Man, to eke out 3 more wins.
We're playing
on top
Miami.
Of that.
We're playing Miami next week. Can we beat Miami? And the quarterback is hurt too.
Currently, with the way we're constructed, with the people sitting in street clothes, no. Right. So to come up with 3 more wins, so that puts us at 5.
We have a
Wow,
bye week too. We have a bye.
So we'll
week
win
in-
the bye. We'll win the bye week.
We'll win the
yeah. So we're 1-0 versus the bye.
I said you guys get to 6 and
Best
7
vacation
at week
in the
14.
league. Best
we
vacation.
might be at Kerry 6-10.
I think you guys are 6 and 7 at week 13 and then or week 14 and then it's I don't know.
So
what
off the
y'all
rails
do.
after that.
Well,
'Cause
we have New
Green
England,
Bay.
and we have New England
Yeah.
Twice
in
and
December.
Green Bay.
Because you guys bury them twice in December. I don't know what that's about. The NFL loves you guys.
They
they
love giving us New England in December. They absolutely love it, and I can't even take it.
Right. It's always the last game of the season too, just to
Just to make sure whatever playoff dreams were crushed.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Before Christmas.
Yeah.
So 6-10.
All
No,
right,
what you got? What you got?
6 and 10 is
Yeah.
everything. All right. So you guys kind of already answered this, but I'm gonna tweak. I got 3 friends out in St. Louis who love their quarterback that's out in Kansas City. So
Yeah.
So they want to know who's the best young quarterback in the NFL.
Now, what do you consider young? First 3 years?
They left. It's open.
Left
It's
it
open.
open.
It's
It's
open. It's open.
Well, in my opinion, it's got
It's not
to
Tom
be,
Brady, right? I mean,
right,
it's not
Tom Brady,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it's got to be Mahomes. He's setting records all over the place. He's got 25 touchdowns, actually more than that now because this game is over, in his first 7-8 games.
Kyle hates Mahomes. I mean,
Yeah.
not Kyle.
No.
Anthony hates Mahomes. by the way.
Listen,
And Kyle hates him too, but Kyle
Hates-
loves him so much he hates him. Kyle loves him
Thin
so much.
line
he hates
between love and hate. Right.
him.
I
He
hate
hates
that we
he's
don't
not on
have
the Jets. Yeah. So go ahead, Kyle. Who do you think? I mean, I already know
Oh,
your
I-
answer, but you know.
Yeah.
I would definitely say it's Mahomes, but Jared Goff is a good quarterback too. And I didn't think that at first. I thought that
He struggled his first year, just like most rookie quarterbacks.
Yeah. But I think that the combination of who he's got coaching him
Yeah.
and his arm strength and the things that he has around him. I think to Anthony's point about Pat Mahomes and the tools that he has, I think that's a big part of Pat Mahomes too. But remember, I fell in love with the idea of Pat Mahomes as a great quarterback when I saw him go 74 for 82 in a game at Texas Tech. And like he was a man amongst boys. And I think that the fact that he's doing the things that he's doing right now, I definitely think he has the best potential. But there are a lot of great young QBs in the league right now.
So,
no love for Carson Wentz.
I'm talking now, right? So yeah. And you know, so we already know where the answer is, but man, Mahomes. If you started the beginning of the year, first couple of games, it was Wentz for me, right?
Yeah,
It was Wentz for me, and I think the full body of work and what Wentz did last year, you forget about him because he wasn't the one that won the Super Bowl, right? So if he wins that Super Bowl, then you think Wentz, hands down, is the person going into this year that you would say is the best young quarterback. Right now, Mahomes has taken over, you know, a league by storm. I mean, breaking records and all that kind of stuff. But I put Wentz as a close number 2.
I agree. I think it's a 1 and a 1A, and I totally agree with you, B.
Yep.
I'd say it's Mahomes, and Wentz could eclipse Mahomes if he gets even hotter than he already is right now.
Right.
But it's 1 and 1A.
And think about the weapons that they have separately.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, if Wentz is on that team, he'd be doing the same things, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And he's still recovering from the ACL injury. Let's be clear about that as well.
And he's more mobile naturally than Mahomes. Not saying that
That's a
Mahomes.
toss-up.
The kid can run, man.
I know he
Yeah,
can.
yeah.
I mean, but you know, Mahomes,
Not saying that Mahomes isn't. I'm not saying
Right,
he isn't.
right.
But if you had to just rank one over the other as far as mobility, I'd give a Wentz like a notch up.
the gold
on
star.
him. The gold star. I'm the true fist of the North Star. No, I'm playing.
All right, what else you got? What else
I
you got?
got a couple. My cousin and one of my buddies are big Steeler fans. They want to know if the Steelers are the best team in the AFC.
No.
No,
Negative. Next.
It's obviously. Come on, cousin. You can answer your own question,
Right,
cousin.
right.
It's obviously the
Look
Kansas
in the
City
mirror.
Chiefs.
Look in the mirror and just say no.
Yeah,
It's not.
It's the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't even know if they're
No, listen.
top 3.
It's the Pats, but that's okay. I'm not even a Pats fan, but it's
Right.
the Pats.
It's
You live in Connecticut. It's close enough.
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
it's rubbing off on you, bro.
You're a lot more New England than we are.
Yeah, no. And you wonder why, and we had that conversation earlier, like the
Yeah.
Steelers in general, like why aren't they better? Why haven't they been better? I mean, their identity totally has flip-flopped before, when Roethlisberger came in, it was defense running game, and then a little throwing the ball around. They win a couple championships. Now they can't play defense. They can't even spell it at this point. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Like, we're just gonna try to outscore you 54-51 and feel confident that that's how we should win every single week. It's absurd how they shouldn't be better, and they have wasted the window that they had with the 3 Bs.
That's very true. I just remember the Pittsburgh identity was definitely more like blue collar, lunch pail, tough guy approach, and then now they kind of got like
Very
a little
finessey.
Hasidity or whatever you want to call it, And now it's very finesse, but it's a coordinated finesse too. I like their offense, especially when Todd Haley was in there. Too bad he's got like a harder personality to get on with, so they kind of have to run him out of town a little bit.
Seems to irritate everybody.
Yeah. So
Trying to run him out of Cleveland now.
Well, both, and the defensive coordinator, Greg Williams, is hard to get along with, too. So I just think, I don't know, Hugh, you should have, I don't know, maybe someone that agrees with you a little bit more.
This guy hates going into work.
Yeah. Probably does.
So I got
Go ahead, Kyle.
I think that when you're talking about the Pats and you're talking about the Steelers, and we talked about this before too, the organizations are so good. They draft based on what they want and the people that they want to get in there. So, whether they're in the conversation this year or not, Pittsburgh, they'll be back. They always have contingencies and they always draft well. So, but I would agree that the Pats are, until somebody knocks them out of the AFC, realm, then they're the team.
I mean, the Steelers haven't gone anywhere yet, though, right? They're at the top of the division, right? They're 4-2. They're going to the postseason again. 4-2-1.
They
right?
beat Cleveland today,
They
so
beat
yeah,
Cleveland today.
and they won today. So and
So-
Cleveland's
And they
not a
don't have
bad
one of their
club.
best players.
Yeah.
No, it's true.
So
Yeah.
So I got a Jets question for you from a fantasy league from the boards there.
Gee whiz.
Who's the best fantasy player on the Jets?
oh my God, that's a tough question
I
right
know.
there.
Well, hold on, look at Brian's
Wow.
face, everybody. Look at Brian's face. It's like everybody's
We're
making the
gonna
same face.
The Jets defense, is that what?
Yeah. The Jets team defense.
Jamal Adams.
That is the answer.
Is it the kicker? Is it the kicker?
The kicker.
Is it the
It's the kicker.
It might be the kicker. Yes.
This
yes,
guy's
yes.
being a smart aleck over here too. He's being a bit of a smart aleck because you
said
know
a
what?
dig, right? Yeah,
He's
yeah,
dig-
yeah,
because
yeah.
if you say
Yeah.
the kicker, that means you know your team is garbage, not garbage, garbage. Oh,
Yeah,
this
but
guy's funny.
if you started Crowell against Indianapolis, then you had a good day.
Wow.
you know?
Yeah, but that's the problem. It's
That's the
inconsistent.
problem.
And
Yeah.
by the way, the only Jets player I have in fantasy is the kicker. Let's be clear. He gave me like 5 points today.
Next question.
Actually, the only Jets player I have on my team now is the inside linebacker, Avery Williams.
Oh yeah. You got to reach.
I have Robbie Anderson on my bench.
Copy that.
That's a homer pick right there. Is what that is.
Well,
So I got another question from Missouri. Are the Rams for real as a championship contender?
Absolutely. I think they are. I honestly think. I mean, I know that it's pretty obvious, but no one's really necessarily slowing them down. I'm gonna have to look at the scoreboard because the Rams are playing right now. But
Green Bay
Green
now.
Bay was beating them, right? 10-9.
Well, they're in a dogfight right now. 16-13 Rams in the third quarter.
yeah, all
I
right.
looked before I asked the question.
And where are they playing?
In LA.
Oh, in LA. But I still think it is going to be the Rams and Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs, man, they're ridiculous. So I think those two
You love them, huh?
I do. I really do.
You don't feel bad about the Patriots beating them last week? You don't think that means anything?
No, I don't think it means
They didn't
anything.
whoop them. I mean, they beat them, but
they got the GOAT. You guys know, you guys know who the GOAT is.
Of course, he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT.
No,
Right?
yes.
You know.
Connecticut. See, it's coming. You know what I mean?
Listen,
He
yeah,
spends a lot of times in the Massachusetts bars.
I feel like I
and-
shouldn't have to explain
Yeah,
this to you
it
guys.
is what it is.
That's
Yeah.
what it is,
No,
right?
listen. I mean, do we need to say it again and again and again
Yeah.
that he is the best? Like every time we talk about football, Tom Brady's the best. Now, can we continue this conversation?
There are no group of people that understand that more than anyone.
Right.
That's why I
other
feel
than
like-
Jets fans.
Right.
So I
You
feel-
know why? Because we created him. Okay, we created him. Mo Lewis created him by knocking out Drew Bledsoe and then allowing Tom Brady to come in.
You're welcome.
We
You're
created
welcome.
him when Bill Belichick decided that he didn't want to be a part of the Jets anymore, and he wrote down on a napkin, basically, I can't, I quit you. You know what I'm saying? Like he goes, I resign on the napkin.
He ghosted the Jets.
He ghosted
did.
us.
He did.
So we had Belichick for 24 hours.
Yes.
Okay, I even did a piece on it. for 24 hours. He leaves, okay, and then we create Tom Brady.
I'm not sure, but we probably drafted one pick before they picked Tom Brady. We probably picked some nonsensical dude. We probably did. Just to make it insult to injury.
Like Dave Cadigan or something like that.
Dave Cadigan.
You remember Dave Cadigan?
Oh, of course I do.
I said
Number
that for you.
66.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, getting back to the question. Are the Rams for real? Is that where we were? Is that where we were? I don't even know. Yes, the Rams are for real.
Yeah.
Definitely are for real. I think they go into the NFC Championship game and lose.
Ooh, lose to who in the NFC? Don't tell me the Vikings.
Ooh.
No, it's not gonna be the Vikings. So either the Saints
Now you
Right.
taking my material.
or the or the Eagles
Yeah.
or the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you love the Eagles. I think the Saints are the team this year. I know it doesn't seem like that. at
Might
the
be their
moment.
time.
Yeah.
Might be their time.
I kind of think it was their time last year.
The NFC is
think
just weak right
got
now.
stolen.
It would be
Yeah.
nice to see just Drew Brees ride off into the sunset with
Absolutely.
the Super Bowl win because I know the Jets aren't going to do it this year,
Mm.
but I would like to see him win the Super Bowl, ride off with his 39, 40-year-old self, retire and become like and have every record. And I just happen to really, really like Drew Brees. You know, since
Yeah.
It's a good dude.
he's a good dude, man.
What's
Yeah.
the West Coast think about the Rams?
The West Coast thinks that I'm not like a Seattle homer or anything like that. So they did. How did that Seattle game finish up today? By the way, does anybody know? Because I was listening to it on the radio.
Day one.
They
won.
Relatively easy.
I got Tyler Lockett on fantasy, so I pay attention to that. I think that the Rams are as good a pick as any for the NFC. I think that the Saints are doing a lot of things right now, trade wise and moves wise. You know, like the Eli Apple trade. I don't know if that's to try to set them up for a run or to set them up for the future. I like the fact that they got Teddy Bridgewater in there for when Drew Brees is done. They set themselves up nice. But I think I like the Rams a lot in the West to be in at least in the NFC Championship. We'll see what happens from there.
So I got a couple more before we cut this off because I can't. I'd love to have you guys answer questions all day, but we can't do that. So I got one of my buddies is in Europe this week, and the NFL is in Europe.
Who's he in Russia?
No,
I'm just kidding.
Whoa.
No. I'm sorry. Joke.
So he wants to know: do you boys think that the NFL can support an international team?
I'm gonna go the politically incorrect route. Maybe they can, but I don't want them to.
Okay.
I think it should stay here in the States.
Mm-hmm.
There's just too many things as far as travel and logistics that could give another team or would give that European team, right, an unfair disadvantage. And it's just too much. It's crossing the pond all over the place. It's just too much, man. And you're not even giving your body enough time to heal. It's not like this is soccer or this is even basketball, which I think that could potentially do it. It's a lot of wear and tear in your body, man. And to be flying over and
So you're saying Europe? How about? And I don't know. This was what he asked. He was in Europe, and he asked.
I could do Canada or Mexico.
That's what I was asking. Yeah,
I could do Canada
okay.
or Mexico.
Okay.
But not Europe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So he had a follow up. Oh, why don't you guys get in on that?
Kyle, you about to say something?
I would say that if it's going to happen, it's going to be Jacksonville for sure.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that are the most, have always said that they're the most into it. Saad Khan and that ownership group. I kind of agree with Brandon that logistically it's a nightmare, not only for the team that is in London traveling to where they're going to go, but also for the teams traveling there. Like they just had an article in the Times last week about Seattle traveling to London and how big of a trip that is.
Wow.
When you're coming all the way from Seattle
Didn't even
to
think about
London.
that. Yeah.
But they won the game, so everybody was kind of happy about that, and they kind of needed that win. That was the whole piece. Part of the article was how they really needed that win, and that trip kind of gave it to them. So I would say it would be logistically really crazy and hard because unless you're getting a bye afterwards or you're coming off of a bye, it's a tough deal. But I do think it's going to happen, and I think it's going to wind up being Jacksonville.
I would love to see it. I would love to see an NFL team in London. Yeah, I would. It would. be a nightmare logistically, like everybody mentioned.
And you're uprooting families too, and you already know how many hours coaches work, and what would happen to their
families get uprooted anyway. I mean, they get traded, and next thing you know, you're 3,000 miles away anyway, and you had nothing to say about it. So
Now
at least
8,000 miles.
Well, hey man, it is. Isn't there a song that's 8,000 miles?
And I would walk 500 miles, and I would walk 500 more.
That wasn't the song I was thinking of, but that was a nice anyway. But you know, I think it could be done. Yeah, I think it could be done, and I think it will, like Kyle said, and I think I would love to see it in London. Yeah.
You know, to add on to that real quick, one idea that I always thought would be cool is if there was kind of like a Champions League type of thing for basketball where the division winners from the NBA would go and play internationally against like the winners of the leagues in the other countries. You know, whether it be like a month-long tournament or something like that. And I'd love to see football get to the point where you had it being played in so many countries that there were actual opportunities for that. We had some guys from Moscow. You mentioned Russia before. We had a couple guys from Moscow with us on Mercer Island for the last for a couple weeks ago, and just sitting back there and soaking up stuff and learning. And I guess American football has gotten pretty big in Russia. It's big in Poland now, Germany, Holland. So
nice.
I think that you'll see more of the game expanding over there, the more opportunities there are for people to play it. So I think that would contribute to it.
Yeah. No, I listen. I think it would be good to see our what I think is now today our national pastime more so than ever is baseball anymore. It's really football, and I think it does have potential to go there and be a thing. But speaking of the Jacksonville Jaguars, one of the other questions I got from Europe today was, does Blake Bortles need to go?
Yes. Blake Bortles is just not a good quarterback.
Yeah.
I know he was the third pick. I think he was the third pick in the draft.
Top 5 at least.
Yeah, top 5. Yeah. I mean, listen, these things happen. He is just not a good quarterback. I think he needs to start transitioning himself into accepting the role of a backup quarterback on a team that has a better quarterback, because just about every quarterback that's starting in the league right now is better than Blake Bortles. He's just not that good.
Yeah, agreed. And I think this leads me back to part of the philosophy that, I think of and, don't really mention because we haven't had multiple quarterbacks that are good at one time. But why aren't more teams drafting the backup to be somebody that could push the person that's starting? I don't understand why it doesn't happen. But, you have 7 rounds or whatever. Why aren't you drafting people in order to backfill that position as not just somebody that's holding the clipboard, but somebody that you can continue to groom moving forward? Because Bortles, you see where he was headed, and even if you give him a contract, so what? If you have somebody that's good that's on the bench, you could trade him too. It's a trade chip. I don't understand why more people don't do it. But to answer your question, yeah, he definitely needs to go. And the fact that they didn't have somebody that they were grooming during this period of time that you were kind of iffy on them about, then how long is it going to take you to find that person?
Didn't they have someone before him that was also young? The kid was a blonde kid. I remember.
Chad Henne.
Blake Gabbert.
That's the one.
That's right. Yeah. So I don't know, but he definitely needs to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think they need to hit the reset on that for sure.
It's tough though, right? Because their team is ready to win now, right?
Yeah, and your window closes, so it's not open that long. And now you got to find somebody, groom him, train him, bring him in, make sure he's the right guy. And what is the defense going to look like at that point in time? You got to pay those guys too, because a lot of those are young draft picks.
Yeah,
and they're already paying out the wazoo because they have a lot of high draft picks and talented free agents on that defense.
Sure.
And now it looks like they're wasting their money.
They should have given us a 1 for Teddy.
Yeah, we should have waited a little bit longer. Oh, man. And I just want to go back to –
because Teddy's better than he is.
He is.
I'll tell you that right now. Teddy Bridgewater is better than
Blake
Bortles.
Absolutely.
He is. Our backup quarterback is better than Teddy Bridgewater. Is better than Bortles.
I think Bridgewater, it's unfortunate what happened because if he didn't get hurt, I think that they would have had a good season last year, right? I don't think they would have needed Case Keenum.
Right.
I think they would have had just as good of a run in the postseason. I don't think they signed Kirk Cousins,
Nope.
and I think that they're trying to win right now with Teddy Bridgewater. I think he just is almost the quarterback that time forgot because of one leg injury in a practice, right? When they were already good. Right. They were undefeated or had one loss at that point.
Yeah.
And I think he that happens that quick in the NFL where that guy went from potentially a quarterback on a very playoff bound team to backup and fighting for a job. That I think Bridgewater would be a good look.
Well,
for
that happened at the end of the preseason.
Yeah, I mean, but they were no. He was it was in the season.
He was in practice.
Oh, was it?
It was practice.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they were going to be good no matter what.
And
they were going to be good.
He made a Pro Bowl and he won a playoff game for them as well.
Yeah.
I still, you know what? I think that Bridgewater is going to end up starting in the league again, and I think he's going to be successful. I think he's only 25 or 26 years old as well.
Yeah,
Exactly.
he's young.
Yeah.
So
he's young.
for the quarterback position in this day and age, if you're good, he's got another 10 years on him.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 8 to 10,
Sure.
right? Just be,
At
Right.
least 5 good ones. At least 5.
At least
Yeah,
5
yeah.
good ones,
Solid ones,
without
yeah.
a doubt. Yeah. Totally.
I mean, don't sleep on Louisville quarterbacks. I think Lamar Jackson is going to be the truth too when he gets a chance. Once they're done with the Flacco situation,
Needs more grooming, but yeah.
I mean, watch. I mean,
I like Teddy Bridgewater a lot better than Lamar Jackson.
oh, you're
So
crazy.
do I.
You're all crazy. But listen, Lamar Jackson is accurate, and I think that's what gets overlooked by him. And he's super athletic. I think he's Cam Newton light. I really do.
I think Bridgewater is more accurate than Lamar
Fair.
Jackson.
Oh, clearly.
Fair.
without
I
a
do.
doubt.
But he doesn't
Yeah.
have the same gifts that
The
Lamar
mobility
Jackson
That is
and
correct.
yeah.
Yes.
That is correct. But I think Bridgewater is a more cerebral quarterback than
Potentially
Jackson
true.
is.
Yeah. That's true.
And I'm not even talking about the Wonderlic test. I'm just looking at just the way that he plays and the decisions that he makes.
You're talking about the eyeball test. You're saying
Yeah.
that's what? Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
That's
that
fair.
whole Wonderlic thing that they do in So,
What were you going to say though? You wanted to go back to something?
I want to go back to something. I just want to make a comment, but
Yeah.
your quarterback Trubisky,
Yeah.
his ceiling reminds me of Kirk Cousins.
You think so?
I do. I feel like Kirk Cousins is a very good quarterback. I'd give him a B++, and I
Yeah.
think Trubisky has that type of potential to be a B++. Like, he doesn't always hit the mark with his throws, but he makes big plays, and I didn't know he was so ridiculously fast.
Yeah, he's athletic.
Jamal Adams was trying to run and catch him, and he couldn't catch him.
Yeah, I was like, man,
I was
the
like,
safety can't catch this
gee
quarterback.
whiz.
Didn't even come close. Like, he didn't close the gap at all.
Yeah.
He sailed a couple throws.
He did.
like you said.
Yeah. I'll reserve those comments for off the air. But yeah, I think Kirk Cousins may be a generous ceiling from a quarterback perspective. I think they believe they drafted Russell Wilson and they didn't. Right?
No, they didn't.
They did not.
Yeah.
I think they reached for him. I said that before. I'm trying to think of a fair comparison for what I think his ceiling would be.
You don't think it's Kirk?
I think Kurt's a good passer, and I know you guys are a little salty over what happened last year, but I think ultimately he's a good passer, and I think that I don't know that Mitch is ever going to be that good of a passer. And if you notice today, when he started to become effective, is when he started to freeze y'all because he took off on one run, and they're like, oh, he can.
Right.
It's like we never saw that play before. We couldn't defend it.
And then all of a sudden, every time there was a mini option, your linebackers got frozen. So I think, I'm trying to think of a good comparison for what I think he might be. And I don't. Kirk Cousins, I guess, is a fair estimate, but he's different than that. I guess is what I'm going with.
Yeah.
Almost like if Doug Flutie could play, like something like that. You're going back a little further. If a guy could actually, he's probably better with it throwing the ball than Doug Flutie was, but somebody like that can move the ball. He moves the ball.
What about Alex Smith?
Yeah, it's probably more fair. Yeah, he's probably a better version of Alex Smith.
Definitely better
version of Alex Smith. Yeah.
Alex Smith has been a professional. You know what I mean? He hasn't underwhelmed or overwhelmed. He's just been a professional quarterback. And sometimes that's what a team needs if they have all this bright stuff around.
It's enough to win.
Yeah, it's enough to win, but where I give Trubisky more positive marks than say Alex Smith is the fact that he'll go deep on you quick. He'll do it, and he will not hesitate to do so. Whereas Alex Smith will.
I was trying to think of the comparison, and that's what I thought of Alex Smith. But then Trubisky throws the ball, deep and what have you, and Alex Smith is not very conservative there. But when you're looking at him, 1,800 yards, 15 touchdowns, 6 picks. Quarterback rating of 97.8 overall for the year.
But he hasn't passed the eyeball test. When you watched him play today, even you admitted
it was a dirty 202 touchdown performance. I didn't feel nice and warm inside after watching it per se. But sometimes that's what you need him to be.
Yeah.
more of a game manager at this point in time than trying to take that risk down the field and end up in a turnover or something like that and losing a very winnable game like today would have been.
Correct.
But to
Right,
be
so-
fair, it's not like our defense played bad. Like we always play pretty good, and then because we're getting leaned on so much,
Right.
we let it go in the fourth quarter.
Right.
So we definitely gave Trubisky some issues, some problems. You know, we gave him, there was some pressure on him. There. By the way, Darryl Roberts, number 27. I like him, and
He's balling.
He's balling, bro. He's balling, and he's a heck of a quarterback. He's got great closing speed. He knows how to. He doesn't get penalties called on him. He's always tapping away at the ball, and he's a really, really good tackler. And if he needs to take over for Tremaine because Tremaine is hurt, I will not hesitate to say, all right, he can stay there. And we can let Tremaine Johnson just continue to heal up because I have that much confidence in him. And that right there is going to lead me into our Tweak Me and Peak Me segment right here. So play it up. Let's play that music up.
That's right, DJ. Here.
Oh, by the way, Laszlo has been talking about trying to do all these things with sound waves with all the music.
Hold on, Kyle.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. This is our Tweak Me, Peak Me segment. And moving on, this is where we talk about what has gotten under our skin as well as what we can look positively at when it comes to the Jets, the culture, society, whatever's on our minds. Who cares? But, of course, you know, we need to talk about some of these things. And, you know, I'm just going to just let it go to whoever, you know, wherever the spirit moves them, you know, who wants to go first and talk about what's kind of tweaking them and what's peaking them.
I'll go first. I'll go first because I didn't see the whole game, so it's going to be like an abbreviated one, and then you guys can expand. Herndon definitely peaking me. You know, it's great that he has touchdowns in 3 games in a row. That's a real positive thing. It's too bad that we don't have much else, but going on. But and you know what? As much as I liked Cannon, this, you know, he's being overused. We're really missing Eli McGuire.
Absolutely.
I would have liked to have seen, you know, he would have been a helpful thing with some of these running back injuries. What was peaking me today, and it's not a Jet game thing, what was tweaking me, I was watching the Green Bay Rams game, and they still have the USC stuff on the field underneath the Rams stuff. So I'm looking at this game, and I'm seeing it's like I have 3D glasses on, and I'm seeing 2 things at the same time. And you know, it's like, all right, let's get a stadium built in LA for one of the teams there, so that we could actually see you in your own stadium. So
they need to get the NFL out of LA. How about that? San Diego, go back to San Diego, and Rams go back to where you're appreciated in St. Louis. Sorry,
that's
LA, but whatever.
My quick peek me, tweak me. You guys can take it from there.
So I want to jump real quick. I just want you to know Marlon Mack just punched in his 2nd touchdown today.
Nice.
So I think both of you and I have in our lineups today in 2 different leagues.
Yeah.
So,
Since my season's over, now I'm starting to win games.
yeah.
You have the return
On
of the
some other
Mac
show, you guys.
He's got the return of the Mac. You had to go there. I love it. I love it.
You guys should do a whole segment on the adventure that's been Brian's fantasy season this year.
Yes. You can pick it apart. We were talking about it at the bar. If I didn't drink as much over the weekend, I would have drank more just to, you know, drown my sorrows. But go ahead, man.
I made the worst trade in fantasy with this turkey right here, Brian, and he still can't win.
Connor, huh?
I traded Connor
Connor.
to him for Fournette because I thought Bell was going to come back and just amend his season, and I was like, all right, it's just a hamstring
and you thought
injury.
Fournette was going to play.
And I thought Fournette was going to play, but his hamstring is like,
Yeah.
what, they chop it off or something? Gee
Yeah,
whiz.
no, and
All right, I'll jump in quick on Tweak Me, Peak Me. You know, not that we try to get too serious on a podcast. It's been a lot of fun, and I know you guys do a great job. I think it's worth noting something real serious happened this week in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I think it's that much more beyond Tweaks Me. We have the hate's got to stop. The love's got to continue. We have so much more in common than we do. It's different, and I'm just tired of seeing these tragedies. I know you all feel the same way, and I thought it was worth mentioning on a public forum that that's a horrible thing that happened this week. So we could all do better. We could all do better.
Praise to their families.
Yeah,
Prayers out.
God bless them and God be with them, man. And it's just a tragedy. And Team BKBK, we just want to just reach out to all of you and just spread that love, man, because this was just absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. Yeah.
So on another positive note, unpositive note off of that, another thing that tweaks me in a different direction about my Bears, could we get Jordan Howard back to RB1 status, man? I like Cohen and all.
I have him, man, and I
can I
can't
get
get
my 25 carries a game, man? What
Right,
happened?
right.
I'm over it, man.
How many did he have today?
I don't know, like 14, but he hit you guys for like 80 yards or whatever. it
And
was,
the touch,
but
and
he
the
did a
touch.
touchdown,
Yeah,
I know,
yeah,
but
yeah.
he needs to get back to RB1. I want 30 touches a game. I'm greedy.
Right.
I want my man back
Right.
to RB1 status.
Looks a little chubby out there.
He does, yeah.
That little thick run. He looks like Marion Butts or something out there.
Matron.
He's bored, so he's eating. You know what I'm saying?
I gotta get him a bar of Lever soap for all his 2,000 parts, man. He got it out there, bro.
So what you got, B?
Oh Lord. So listen. What piques me is Herndon. I mean, that's really all I could look for in that game today. Was really Herndon and seeing him flash like he has the last couple of games, scoring touchdowns and stuff like that. All he does is score touchdowns. He needs like some sort of nickname that is around that. Chris Carter, huh?
All he does is catch touchdowns.
That's all he does is catch touchdowns.
Or all day like AP, right? All day AD.
Speaking of which, shout out to 146, 2 touchdowns, and he's like my age out there running.
Yeah. And I got him in fantasy. Started him too, baby.
That's right.
Yep. So you can have Connor. Get out of my face.
Well, I tried to get him, and you said no.
I did say no.
So then I went, a step lower, and you said done.
It was more dumb than done.
You haven't gotten a lot of points from him, have you?
From Fournette?
Yeah.
No, not many at all. Jerk. But I'm still in first place in the league.
You are. I'm coming on, man. 2 wins. You know what I mean? Under my belt. Anyway, all right. So that's what piques me. Tweaks. I mean, my fantasy team definitely tweaks me. I mean, it is what it is. 190 points right now, and yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, snap.
190 points with dudes that just off the street.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean,
Wow.
off the street dudes. Like, forget. I
Hey.
tore down my entire team, and it was ridiculous.
Well, just reel off some wins. I might see you in the playoffs.
Well, there you go. I'm gonna have to reel them off in order to
Yeah.
see you in the playoffs,
Yeah,
dude.
you're
I
gonna have
need
to.
to win out in order for that to happen. But the Jets, if I had to pick one thing that really tweaked me about the game, like it does every single game, and we beat this to death, was the penalties. Yeah, the penalties. We talk about it every week, and it's like a broken record. I say this all the time. It's not the wins or losses. It's how you lose. It's how you lose. We have people that are in street clothes. I get that. And regardless, everybody's an NFL player. They have a uniform on. They're supposed to go and perform. That's fine. But the penalties every single week, I mean, it was at least 5-1 as far as the advantage of the penalties versus not penalties, what the Bears did versus what we did. So if we want to look at what we need to do as a team moving forward in order to get wins as a young team, just look across the field and what the Bears did.
Yeah.
I
can't believe we're giving so much love to
it
these
is
daggone
what it
Bears,
is, man.
but
I mean,
hey.
you tip the cap to somebody who's going to come in here, and really they didn't do anything super special.
Nope.
It wasn't like over the top. It wasn't like we played Kansas City and they put 40 on us, right? But we never felt like we were in the game because you guys played, executed.
We
the
are
game
who you
plan,
thought we were.
right?
Go
Proud
Denny
of
Green.
There
Yeah.
you go. So that's it, man. I hand it over to B.
All right, let me go with peak me first. All right, the things that peaked me today. Obviously, I think it's unanimous. Herndon did a great job. He scored his third touchdown in a row today as far as games played, third game. And then also the guy that I mentioned before, I really like this guy, Darrell Roberts, number 27. He's plays cornerback on our team. He's a reserve. And I think he's about maybe one of the few reserves on the team that's actually stepped up
Right.
and has played well, which will lead me into my tweak me. And the thing that tweaks me the most outside of the penalties that Brian brought up is the fact that there is such a huge drop-off between our starters and our backups. And because we play football, this is a game where you have injuries. People will get hurt, and then backups will have to step up and play football. And there's a huge drop-off in the ability in that, and we're seeing that manifest right now. And that right there just goes to show you the not-so-great job of Maccagnan, because we don't have Robbie Anderson, we don't have Anunwa, we don't have Pryor, and the guys that are subbing in for them just can't get any separation. They're dropping balls, and just not being good targets for our quarterback. So that's really bothering me. And then also just overall the play of the O-line. It's been up and down. Every time the O-line plays really well, we have a game like Denver or we have a game like Detroit. And then we know just from the giddy up that we have a C-plus offensive line when they're playing well. It's not. It's kind of a patchwork job. It really is a C-plus. I can't even give them a B. And, right now with this rookie quarterback, you have to be aware and understand that you actually could be a hindrance to the development of this really good quarterback or potentially really good quarterback. And that's my biggest fear as a Jets fan. Don't hinder the growth of this quarterback because he's got all the tools. He has natural ability, but he's also only 20 years old. And I don't want his progress being hindered at all. It really scares me. It scares me. So it's those things right there for my tweak me and peak me. But the thing that really peaks me is that tweaks me. It's not even like I'm tweaked. I'm actually a little nervous about it because I don't want my quarterback being hindered in any way. Yeah,
That's my quarterback.
That's my quarterback.
I just need shades and a leather jacket, right?
Absolutely. And a couple of
That's my
sniffles in
quarterback.
between.
Yeah, you know that. You know that. All right, folks. So, as we all know, we've got everyone in the studio except for this Chicago guy is a Baldwin Bruin alum, and we all played football for the Baldwin Bruins, and we've got some good news. All right, the Baldwin Bruins, they have made the playoffs with their latest victory. They just beat Syosset this past Friday, so congratulations, Coach Carroll.
Syosset.
Congratulations, Coach Carroll, Senior, the Wizard. And congratulations to Baldwin, the Baldwin Bruins, the players, and everyone for making the playoffs. And it looks like, because I emailed and texted both Coach Carrolls,
Okay.
and it looks like we are going to be playing Farmingdale. It was between Farmingdale and Oceanside. Actually, you know what? Let me check this email real quick.
I
Check
think
the text.
we
Check the
have
text.
breaking news.
Breaking news.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up here.
Yeah.
All my messages.
Who needs a soundboard? You got BT.
Yeah.
All right.
That's right.
So Kerry says that Baldwin's going to be playing Oceanside on Friday instead of Farmingdale, and they have the opportunity to avenge a 30-0 loss where they were missing two of their captains and another key contributor. And by the way, last year they played Oceanside in the playoffs, and they won the game on a long pass, except for the ref called that the receiver had stepped out of bounds and then returned to the field and was the first touching, and they lost the game because of that call.
I hate that ref.
From what I hear, it was the correct call.
It was a correct call? All right.
From what I hear, it was the correct call.
Well, you gotta let that go, man. You gotta let that go.
Yeah,
Coach Carroll told me that. But that was so they got a lot to play for. And we know. Remember how hard it was for us to make the playoffs back in the day?
Sure.
Four teams made the playoffs. You had to be top four.
Now what is it?
Or you paid admission and you watched at Hofstra Stadium. That was the deal.
What is it, top
And
8 now or something?
It's top 8 before you go to Hofstra. So you play
Okay.
either a home or away, and then you go to Hofstra.
Gotcha.
But we only went one time in that whole 4 years.
Mhm.
One time our senior year against Farmingdale. So
Big Four champs.
yeah, we were the
Oh, you guys won? You guys won?
We got in the playoffs, but when you make the playoffs and you're in the the top 4, you call Big Four champs. But we lost to the number 1 team in the state, which was Farmingdale, and we were ranked number 24, I believe, at that point in time. So we were beating them at the half.
We didn't actually lose, Anthony. The game never ended.
You ran out of time.
2:37. They
is that
called the
true?
game. 2:37 left in the fourth quarter. They called the game on us because it was raining. It was like a deluge out there.
What was
Yeah.
the score?
Crazy.
The score was
20-7.
20-7.
Oh.
Yeah.
They had just scored the last touchdown on a pick six as we were driving. So it was 14-7 or it was 13-7, I believe, and we were driving. Mike Townsend pick six. It's still like the record for interception return,
Oh,
I think, in Nassau County, like 99 yards.
Yeah.
And then the athletic directors met on the field, and even though it had been raining the entire game and it had been lightning the entire game, and the lights went out, they decided they were going to call the game then.
Yeah.
When, so
Kyle
we were
was-
none too pleased.
Kyle was toughing it out. He got his knee kind of all messed up. He's out there running around making tackles as well. I still remember him running around limping, but like Captain Kyle McKenna, man, he was out there really trying to make it happen. So I remember that, Kyle. Yeah.
We were all doing
Kyle
it.
was not coming out. Yeah, man. We were all just trying to make it
I was
happen.
not coming out.
Yeah, man. So you know what? I'm going to show you guys because Kerry wanted to talk about the Baldwin Bruins, so I'm going to pull that up for everybody right now. So it's playing, guys.
This is Kerry from the BKBK podcast. Want to talk about the Baldwin Bruins. They put a smackdown on the Syosset team on Friday, blew them out. So, as a gift, they get to go to see Farmingdale next Friday in the playoffs. They look good. Eric Manigault played really well. The quarterback, Nate Holmes, played really well. Our receiver didn't play that much, but had a touchdown on the first series that he was in, and then came out the rest of the game. So look, Baldwin can beat anybody anywhere this year. So let's go Bruins. Let's put the smackdown on Farmingdale, and let's go into the playoffs playing well as we are.
All right, guys and girls. So, yeah, that's Kerry talking it up about the Baldwin Bruins. So we just want to wish them luck with their playoff game that's coming up this upcoming weekend. And, just thanks again for watching another episode of the BKBK podcast. We want to be able to keep bringing you the latest news and viewpoints of where sports and the culture collide and the New York Jets reign supreme. So keep watching. And a special thanks to our first in-studio guest.
That's right.
Great job, Anthony. Great job.
Anthony Fioroli, right?
Yeah, no, Ferriola. You were
Ferrioli, all righty. Sounds like that good sauce that I put on my ravioli.
Italian girl, too.
Yeah. Sounds like that good sauce that you put on the old ravioli there, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure, guys. Thank you very
Oh,
much.
man, it was
I'm honored when you guys become the podcast for the New York Jets. I will have been the first guest.
The inaugural
That's right.
guest.
That's right.
Yeah,
the
man.
inaugural
Yeah,
guest, right.
man. Totally.
So
totally.
I won't say go Bears, but it's all right, man.
No, go ahead, say go Bears.
That's all right, go Bears.
No.
Now that we're on iTunes, we're going to be reaching all across the country, right? In the
That's right.
audio only version. What's up with that, Brian?
What's up? Oh yeah, we are officially on iTunes. Yeah, so you can check us out at bkbkpodcast.podomatic.com, or you can go to iTunes and just search BKBK podcast, and you can catch us on iTunes.
That's right.
That's right.
Yep. And-
Support, like us, give reviews.
And all the Shy Town get at you too, even if they want to.
Yeah. Let's
do,
go,
do what you
Shy.
gotta do.
Yeah.
Do what you gotta.
Yeah. And all of New England can come and get some too.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
get some.
So yeah, man. So and you can also find us on Facebook, on BKBK Podcast fan page. You can find us on Twitter at BKBK Podcast, Instagram at BKBK Podcast, as well as on YouTube. Just type in BKBK Podcast, hit the like and subscribe button to show the love. And that's it. Let's go Jets. Let's go Baldwin Bruins. And let's go Team BKBK.
Peace out.
Peace out.
Yeah, this is the first and last time I'm doing this this shot right here. Got some hot light on the dome over here, and it's getting my rosy cheeks too. It's colder out in Washington than you guys realize.
This is called ancillary content because we're still rolling.